Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nerdyjock Media presents Dragonball Daima Pod. We had to shoot 3 episodes concurrently because I was out of town for a few weeks on a Caribbean cruise with my fiance. So I'm glad to be back, but what a blast. Had a great time. If you haven't been down there, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Go check out those beautiful islands.
And guys, the Nerdyjock is having a month right now because not only did he go on an amazing Caribbean vacation with his fiance, but he was also in the first Super Bowl commercial of the first commercial break of the Super Bowl.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I don't know if those who watch full time, I'm sure you guys watched the Super Bowl. 150 million people saw it. So it was awesome, man. I'm an actor as well, as we've talked about before, and I was blessed to have booked the Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, Jeremy Strong, and got to be there front and center for this commercial. So I'm just thankful and blessed for that opportunity, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you haven't followed me on my other social for my acting stuff, at Kevin Ketchum is where I'm at there too. So if you want to keep in touch with the less nerdy side of my jock and more the jock side / actor side, then check that out as well. So thank you guys for watching that Super Bowl commercial, and just make sure to follow us on our socials at Nerdyjock Media and mine at Kevin Ketchum on Instagram. So those numbers really do help out, especially with acting jobs and bookings. So thank you so much.
Dude, I thought I was going to have to sit through a lot more before I finally saw your commercial, but no, it was just right at the top.
Yeah, we're playing in the background for you here, but it was awesome, man. It was a great opportunity, probably one of the biggest gigs I've got to do. Got to work with, Academy Award-winning directors, actors, and, Emmy Award winners.
All right. Enough of Kevin Ketchum. You're the nerdy jock here. This isn't a Super Bowl podcast.
This isn't a Super Bowl podcast.
This is a Dragonball Daima Reaction Podcast.
Exactly.
And today we are talking about episode 17, Gomah.
Now, let's just get right into it. This is what everyone's been waiting for, right? These last 4 episodes, the last one's not out yet at the time of recording this, but we knew that they were going to save all their money, all the resources for the animation and the sequences. Because let's be real, the plot kind of not really too much. A lot of transforming, a lot of fun stuff happening, but
we're fully in fanfic territory now.
We're
it's like Toriyama wrote a fanfic of his own IP at this point.
This really, you really are correct there. This is definitely like, hey, what would the fans like to see? Let's make something like that, and let's just have a fun looking show. I mean, it looks great. But let's just go. I'm not going to go too deep into plot details because there's really not too much. But some things about this episode that I really enjoyed that I think we should touch on is number one is the big fight between Goku and Ku. Now, Do doesn't fight, but Ku does fight, and he's a great supporter as well. You see some really good animation. Goku's using his Noibo.
Did you say Do or Ku?
Ku.
Because he fights Do.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes. That's okay.
Majin Do, the chubbier one.
The chubbier one. Yeah.
Dude, and by the way, before we get into that fight, which really, it's not that much. We just got to say that Goku does a fight. He goes Super Saiyan maybe once. Doesn't really even go Super Saiyan 2 or 3 in this fight because it is broken up in the middle by Gomah himself, hence the name of the title, Gomah. But, I mean, there was a really great animation sequence there, which from, I guess, every episode, that's what you're going to hear us saying a lot, is that it's just beautifully animated.
Yeah.
I mean,
the rest of the show so far, the most positive note that can be said, which not to detract from any other thing that somebody might like about these episodes, is that the animation is just like movie quality through and through. 17, 18, 19. We'll get into that when we get in those episodes. But yeah, the animation is superb.
I mean, that's really what I felt too, though, Dan. When we saw this episode, I was like, okay, this hour and a half, these 3 episodes is essentially like a long movie. And I'm sure 20 is going to be a nice cap onto that too. But you can see the quality, the animation, the lighting effects. Those were fantastic in these episodes. It was just a gorgeous thing to watch.
Yeah.
But a couple plot points before we get into a couple more cool tidbits about this episode was that I saw some funny moments in there. There is some good moments in these last 3 episodes that we saw. Number one, we noticed that Bulma, she sees when Gomah interrupts a fight, and the fight it's great, but it's kind of generic. I mean, we knew it's more of, hey, this fight's just to get us to the point where Gomah interrupts and starts battling himself. But it's funny because they see the tertian oculus eye on Gomah, and they're like, and Bulma, being the smart woman and smart ass that she is, she goes to Hybis and is like, hey, isn't that looks a lot like your old belt? And she's like, where is her belt? And then you see this really funny, one of those sweat drops where he knows what's going on, and Hippus is like, no one cares about that. It was just a belt.
Right.
And I don't know. I got a little bit out of that one. That was a kind of a funny moment for me. But that was cool and all. But the biggest part about this is Gomah and Goku start fighting, right? And obviously in Dragon Ball, there's always going to be a cool fight ring made, usually.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to do our rankings real quick too in the middle of this episode and take a brief break and say, ask you guys, what is your favorite Dragon Ball fighting ring? Now, we have the classic Tenkaichi Budokai ring.
Right.
And that's important for Dragon Ball Original, even a little bit.
All the way through Z.
All the way through Z. And some of the better fights in the Tenkaichi Budokai aren't just in Dragon Ball, but in the Majin Buu saga in Dragon Ball Z. It starts out there, and that's where a lot of crazy stuff goes down.
Yeah. Some of the best fights in the entire Dragon Ball canon occurred in that ring.
So that's
some version of it that wasn't destroyed by Piccolo.
So we got the classic Tenkaichi Budokai ring. Then we have the Cell Games ring,
of course,
which is super, super popular. People love that ring. I mean, it's always a stage in all the Dragon Ball games.
We have the ring that Baba created or sort of presided over when Goku and Krillin and Yamcha went into sort of Baba's little house of mirrors or fun or whatever, where Goku ended up fighting his grandpa.
Yeah.
So we have that.
We have that one, like the throwback to Dragon Ball. Remember, there was a fighting ring in Dragon Ball in the other world, which is that was actually a pretty cool one because I think the outside had like lava underneath it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there were different rings in that too. Like there were different environments. I think like Dracula had his own thing,
and the Mummy had his own thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So kind of Hunter in that way.
Exactly.
I guess, but the progenitor of that idea.
We put those together. We kind of grouped those in one, and that's a cool ring. And then we have, of course, the Tournament of Power ring from Dragon Ball Super.
Right.
Very, very popular ring. Really good design. Definitely has a different vibe and has a lot more layers to it because it does have more terrain, kind of like this Demon World ring does too.
Yeah, it's that Venn diagram point of the terrain fight of Dragon Ball and then the ring fight of Dragon Ball, because it was contrived for the purpose of a tournament, but it functions more like the just vast wastelands that people fight in on Namek or Earth or whatever in various arcs.
Okay, so if you had to rank your favorite rings from let's say 1 to 5. There's about 5, right?
1 to 5.
1 to 5. What would you say?
Well, I'll start with 5.
Okay.
I'll start with 5. I would say the Cell Games ring was kind of pointless.
Right.
Like because they end up just destroying it anyway and fighting on terrain and in the air. I mean, it was it's not that it was bad. It was just pointless. So I would put that as number 5.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm going to agree with you on that one. But I think the Cell Games ring actually has more emotional connection because that's where the Gohan, Goku kind of, the double Kamehameha happens.
Well, I would,
or Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, actually, yeah.
Well, by the time all the good stuff happens in the Cell fight,
destroyed.
The ring is gone.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
totally.
So that's a solid 5 for us. It's very generic. There's a couple pointed structures at the corners, and that's about it. Nothing cool design there.
Right.
All right, what'd you have next?
And then there's nothing really bad afterwards. I would say. I mean, I wouldn't even say the Cell ring is like really bad. So it's hard. It's hard to rank things. Maybe Tournament of Power ring would be number 4 just because I like the older Dragon Ball stuff more than I like Super.
Okay.
Not that I don't like Tournament of Power ring. That's my favorite arc in all of Super. You've heard me say it on the pod before. I love that arc. It's a good ring. I would say that's number 4. This might just be like, actually, there might only be 4 rings or whatever that we're talking about. I would say, actually, no, I would say number 5 is the whatever the tournament was where Goku fought against Hit in Super. We forgot about that. There was that tournament. It's like, that was all right.
Yeah.
So then I would say Cell Games after that. Then, what did I say after that?
Then you said the Tournament of Power ring.
Tournament of Power. Yeah. Then I'll say, and then only because the number 1 is the number 1, but I will say the number 2 or second to last would be the Otherworld ring with Baba. Yeah. And then my number 1 all time is the Tenkaichi Budokai ring.
Yeah. It's a classic. It's iconic. I'd have to pretty much agree with you, except I think I would put the Tournament of Power ring a little higher up there. That's that's actually probably my second favorite after the Tenkaichi Budokai. So I would probably go Cell Games. I would go Demon Realm ring with Gomah's ring, which it's a kind of a cool looking ring.
I didn't even include Gomah's ring. Yeah. Here's how. Okay, Gomah's ring doesn't even chart for me because I completely forgot at the time of this record that he even creates a ring. Yeah. And it's also kind of a pointless ring because all of the fighting is occurring in the sky.
Yeah.
Nobody is on any terrain whatsoever. So.
Okay, I mean, fair enough, but I think design-wise, it looks pretty cool. It looks kind of gnarly. Okay. It fits in the Demon World vibe, so I would put that one next, and then I would go, probably, yeah. Then it would be, it was Demon World, then it was Tournament of Power, and the reason why I like Tournament of Power ring is because it had the different terrain and the vastness of that huge tournament. It was like a battle royale too. Yeah. So it was bigger. There was actually places to hide. Yeah. So like if you needed a breather or come up with a strategy, which they often did in that and the Tournament of Power in Super, which actually made it really interesting to watch because it wasn't just people on the sidelines like in the Tenkaichi Budokai ring just talking about it. You actually had time to say, hey, we got to regroup here. Let's go attack here, or use this terrain as to our advantage.
You convinced me. It was the most utilized space in terms of rings for narrative and all. So it's going up to number 2 for me.
I'm a huge fan of the Tournament of Power ring. And then, of course, you just have to have the Tenkaichi Budokai ring number 1 because it plays such an important part in all of Dragon Ball.
I mean, yeah, but so many iconic moments had there. So many techniques were invented there. Krillin, as we learned later after we recorded our Saiyan Saga podcast, rewatch, Krillin invented his big blast thingy that he can split that he uses against Vegeta and the Cybermen. There, Yamcha invents the Sokidan there, which is awesome. The fight with Tien, like one of the best fights, I would say, in all of Dragon Ball. Goku versus Krillin, another great fight. Just amazing stuff. Even most of the fight with Piccolo occurs in that ring before he destroys the ring.
Exactly.
So,
and that's badass. It's awesome. Yeah. So that's our rankings of rings. But now back on to a little bit more about Episode 17 Gomah. Not much left. We do get another really beautiful action sequence between Vegeta, and he takes over for Goku. And then they start, he takes a little break. Goku's going to beat it because Gomah's pretty much invincible at this point. It kind of takes the narrative juice out of the story because we know he's invincible. And until they find a reason to get rid of this eye, it's just going to be a brawl.
Well, we've talked a lot on this pod of who the big bad was going to be. Because we didn't think it could be Gomah, because Gomah, wasn't interesting at all. In the earlier episodes, they say he was very powerful, but all he does all day is sit around watching Dragon Ball Z, which who can blame him? Him and Degasu are literally just watching Dragon Ball Z reruns all day. And then he gets this MacGuffin, this Tertian Oculus, the evil third eye that he was looking for in the beginning. And suddenly now he is the big bad. Yeah. So no twist there. No, it's not Glorio.
We were wrong.
Yeah.
Guerrillo, we were wrong.
Every prediction I made was completely wrong. What I should have done is just imagine if this was just kids playing with action figures, that was going to be what the outcome was.
Pretty much it. It's fan fiction, guys, here and there. But one last thing I want to talk about on this episode was that they did have a really awesome, beautiful animation sequence. Not animation per se, but big blast battle where everyone's it's a 7-on-1. We've got the Tamagami involved, the Piccolo's involved, Glorio's involved, Goku, Vegeta, even Supreme Kai or Nahare is involved too, and they're all do this amazing there's a 360 shot, Gomah's in the middle, and they're all on these rocks, and just it's a beautiful, Kamehameha, Masenko Senpou, or how you ever say it, I can't say it.
It's all right.
And then, Vegeta does his blast. And it was a cool sequence.
I just like that you call him Nahare now. You are fully on the Nahare train.
Well, I just remembered it because I rewatched the episode recently. But I still prefer just calling him Supreme Kai.
No, plot stuff, whatever. The fight, beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. There was the whole thing where Neva kind of winks at Tamagami 1 and activates him and gives him some power. Yeah. And I was still, holding on to my darling pet theory that Neva was going to end up being the big bad, and it was going to be Dragon Ball Daima at the end. It wasn't. Tamagami 1, everybody fighting Gomah was beautifully animated. It was, it was gorgeous. It was fun to see.
So much fun. And that's why this is a shorter episode. These next 3 are all going to be around 10 to 15 minutes because a lot of it's mainly animation. We'll have some beautiful graphics in the background there.
We're over 15 right now.
I know we're already 15, but we'll edit a few minutes out here and there. But either way, If you had to rank this episode as far as the overall on Daima, like what would you put Gomah at?
Well, I think that
I
think the joy of this show. Thank you for clarifying too. Yeah, tier makes it so much easier. Yeah. I would say this is a solid A rank episode because I'm not expecting anything from the plot at this point.
Yeah.
But it was exciting to see everything. It was the little reveal of Goku going Super Saiyan 3 at the button of the episode in the exact same pose that we initially see him in Super Saiyan 3. You know, in Z when he goes against Boo was awesome. I mean, yeah, like and it seems like when you're looking at all of the excitement that's happening online, that's what people are latching onto. Right. They're like, you know what? It's not the best story, but
we're here for the transformation.
We're here for the fights. Yeah,
I know.
We came for the fights. So.
They got us hook, line, and sinker. They know where our fandom and lore is. It's like, I mean, we do prefer. We love plot. I mean, not gonna lie, we love plot. But you know what? We're not. When you see Goku going Super Saiyan 3, Vegeta going Super Saiyan 3, all this other fun stuff happening, you know, it always gets you excited. I think it's kind of a cheat and a cop-out in a lot of ways, just because we do enjoy, you know, more better plotted episodes. But Daima it's for the fans. It's what you see is what you get. There's no twist really here. There's no upsets here.
It's all fan service. It's like look at your favorite characters doing cool things and beautiful animation.
Yeah, but that's our little recap on episode 17. Thanks for sticking around the whole episode if you guys did. Follow us on social medias, TikTok, Twitter, X, everywhere.
Check out this guy's Dunkin' Donut Super Bowl commercial because he killed it.
Thank you guys. It was a pleasure and a blessing, and it was just looking forward to more work in the future. So we'll see you next time on episode 18, Awakening. Okay?
Adios.